It's you. I've heard about you. You're the one that wants to live as a peasant in the medieval era? You want to be covered in pig shit, pick up rocks and chop down trees all day? That you want to build your own dynasty? Well, all of this and more can be had in Medieval Dynasty!
Hey, asshole! Get back to work!
Hello and welcome to my humble little corner of internet real estate. I'm the Sumerian. Thanks for joining me, and today we're going to be looking at Medieval Dynasty. Now, Medieval Dynasty was published by Topless Productions and it was developed by RenderCube. It was released in early access of 2020 last year, and the 1.0 full version was just released. Now, I've sunk about 300 hours into this game in the early access mode, but I started a new dynasty since they released the full 1.0 update with all the new content added. There's new professions, equipment, bandits, and all kinds of new fixes that they've added since the 1.0 release. Also, if you have a previous save file from the early access version, if you try to upload that save file to the new game as of right now, it won't work properly. So there are bypasses that are available to you via the Steam tutorial, and it's here. I would also recommend copying your previous early access save file to a safe location, so that way how many hours of work that you put into the game are safe someplace, just in case you want to revert back to that old save and use the previous version. You play the role of a young man driven from his home by war. You start off with some oats, a few coins, and the clothes on your back. Your goal is to, build a dynasty. Do whatever you want. You start off in a town called Gustovia, and your only hope is to speak to the locals and look for your uncle Jordan. Unfortunately, you find out that he's dead and he's gone, and the local castellan, Unigos, points you in the right direction. It basically tells you that you can have as much land as you like, as long as you pay your taxes. You start off as a common peasant, farmer, and gatherer. You can also hunt, and you can mine. There's no dragons, there's no magic. This is the real deal medieval life. I hope you like the grind, because holy shit, this game's grind is insane. As grindy as it is, it's still highly addicting and incredibly immersive. Some of the best $34 I've ever spent on a game. You collect sticks and stones to create your first axe, and you can create various other tools via a radial wheel that you bring up with the mouse menu. You can also bring up a quick build menu that you can handcraft tools out in the field. You have a hunger meter, thirst, stamina, and a health meter, and you also have a dirt indicator similar to Kingdom Come Deliverance, as people will react to you differently, and you won't be able to romance the lasses around the campfire or around the barn looking like you just rolled in a pile of pig shit. In your character menu, you'll find inventory, skills, journal, map, management, technology, and knowledge. In each sub-skill, you'll gain points towards each skill. These increase by performing tasks that are related to that skill. Chopping trees, for example, will increase your skill in extraction, and mining will also increase your skill in extraction. With each skill, there is a tier, and you can see that there is a tree associated with each tier. You must complete Tier 1 before Tier 2 skills open up. For example, once you reach Tier 2, all the Tier 2 skills can have skill points allotted to them. Within your journal, you can keep track of main story quests, side quests, and challenges, which are seasonal challenges bestowed to you from the king. They're difficult, but they yield a great reward. You have a knowledge tab that'll give you elements that are related to all the terminology and the elements that you'll find in the game. The map consists of 8 settlements, each providing unique NPCs that will offer quests, and you can speak to the locals to see who needs you in other settlements. Under the Management tab, you can start recruiting villagers to your settlement. You can only do this once your dynasty reputation reaches a certain level for X amount of villagers. E.g., you can have 10 villagers for X amount of dynasty reputation. Within the Building tab, you can find information on the status of each building and your villagers, if they need food, tools, firewood, etc. You can also check your animals and farm statuses here and whether or not they need animal feed. Within the Technology tab, you'll find building, survival, farming, and production tech respectively. Building technology will increase by performing extraction activities and building structures. Within these tabs, you can buy schemes that allow you to craft more objects that you may need, be it aesthetic items to sell for money, or tools or weapons that you may need. These are tiered as well, with stone being the lowest and iron being the highest tier. You can also craft clothing items to keep warm, or you can sell them for money. Crafting food items when placed into your food storage will automatically feed your villagers, so make sure to keep your food stocks full. Putting resources into your resource storage will provide them with the necessary resources they need to complete their jobs. You also need to make sure that they have the correct tools for each one of their jobs. Make sure to keep axes in the woodcutter shed or the resource storage, and stone knives in the hunting lodge, and make sure you have farming tools either in the resource storage or the barn. Otherwise, your workers will not be able to complete the tasks that they need to do throughout the day. Throughout the game, as you progress, you will obtain different animals that can breed and produce even more animals. Yay, more chickens! You can also have an apiary, a pigsty, goose house, chicken coop, horse stables, and cow barns. It's a lot of fun watching your animals start from baby chicks and raising up into full-blown hens and roosters. It's also fun watching them multiply as the seasons go on, as they will breed. And your animal tender can even have a breeding skill. Having a whole bunch of baby chicks running around is, well, it's pretty damn cute, I gotta admit. When you first start the game, you're going to be gathering all your resources by yourself. Eventually this will be automated by the villagers that you recruit. Your smiths at the smithy will create the tools you need for fishing, hunting, and farming, etc., and then they'll place them into the storage. The hunters will provide meat and place those into the food storage via the hunting lodge. You can have seamstresses, farmers, barn workers, fishers. Basically every job that you could possibly think of you can have in your settlement, and they'll all be automated by your villagers. Make sure that you have the correct skills associated for each job. When you're in the villages, you can go into an inspector mode to see which villagers have the best skills for each job that you need fulfilled. This is a neat way of getting you to visit all the settlements. If you're looking for that master blacksmith or that potential great hunter to provide your village with fresh meat for stews, or the best blacksmith to output the most production while creating tools, make sure you keep an eye on the skills when you're in inspector mode. The amount of detail and thought put into this game is really astonishing. Praise needs to be sent to the developers. They really put their heart and souls into this game. They really thought of everything. The only gripe that I had throughout this game was that the plots on the farms are on a north and south grid pattern. So you have to place your buildings first if you want your farms to align with them properly. Otherwise, if you have OCD like I do, they're going to be all messed up and they're going to be diagonally to each other, and that just looks like shit. Hopefully in a patch they'll be able to rotate the farms, but I think that involves a lot more in the in-depth core programming of the game, so I don't think that's actually going to happen. But it's a thought. I also recommend that when you start, you build your houses out of stone straight away. Don't bother with the wattle bullshit. If you build your houses out of stone, they'll have a much higher insulation level and thus require you to produce a lot less firewood in the winter, as the game has realistic seasons. These are things that you have to think about throughout the game. Wood is your most important asset at the beginning, so the higher insulation you have for each building, the better. Yes, they even thought of insulation in this game. How awesome is that? You can build your buildings by going into the quick build menu via the radial menu, provided that you have enough resources to lay the proper foundation for each building that you're trying to build. While you're building and using all your tools, remember that they all have wear and you have to keep up on them. Once they break, you have to build another one. The seasons throughout the game will dictate which crops you can plant and when you're able to sow your seeds. Carrots, for instance, can be sown in winter, and I think they can be sown in just about any season. At first you'll have to buy your seeds, but eventually you can produce them from your own crops. You can produce them from the barn. Farming is the best money maker early on in the game, as seeds sell for tons of coins. Whenever you're getting started though, you can just spam a bunch of stone knives or stone axes and sell the hell out of those. You can make some pretty decent coin by just finding a bunch of rocks and sticks and making a bunch of stone knives, so I recommend that's how you get started. On to the graphics. The graphics in this game are absolutely gorgeous, and they're totally immersive in every season. The winter months, the fall and spring and summer are absolutely gorgeous to look at, and I found myself gazing off into the distance just admiring it. They really did well with the visuals in this game. Some of the animal animations are a bit wonky, and the character animations are a bit goofy as well. Sometimes you'll see villagers in a kind of smooth criminal lean over the campfire. I don't know if they fixed that yet, but I've seen that multiple times. Other than that, everything looks rich and textured, and it's absolutely incredible the level of detail that you can put through your village and your settlement. Some of the villages that I've seen on the Steam screenshots are absolutely incredible. People have done amazing things in this game and really have brought this game to life. It's incredible what you can do. The sound effects are pretty decent and they fit each activity accordingly. When you're chopping down trees, it sounds like you're chopping down trees. When you're mining, it sounds like you're breaking rocks. The animals sound a bit weird sometimes to me though, especially the boars. The water running and the effects in general are done well, and the music is beautiful and relaxing, and it really sets the tone for your daily grind of activities. The ambient weather effects are also extremely well done. They really captured the essence of a medieval winter. The animal effects all around are charming and they're really well done. The horses, the geese, the pigs, all the animals sound incredible. And it's a good thing too, because you spend a good portion of your time in this game around your chickens on your farm. The map. Throughout the map, you will traverse mountains, rivers, streams, and lakes. You'll also find caves that you can mine in, and this requires a pickaxe and a torch for you to navigate. Eventually, you can get a horse, but that's way down the line, and you can kind of think of it as an endgame item. It greatly helps because you can get saddlebags, which allow you to carry way more stuff, which allow you to deliver goods to your market stalls once you get that far in the game. Also, one of the first things I recommend you getting is a large pouch and a large backpack, as you can carry a lot more stuff this way. Remember over-encumbrance in the Elder Scrolls? Yeah, that's a huge problem in this game, so get yourself a backpack and a pouch. The map is pretty damn big, and without a horse, it does take a long time for you to get from point A to point B, and that's a large part of what you're going to be doing, so
Goodbye.
until you get that horse, it's going to be hours and hours of grinding and grinding. Get a backpack. Overall, I found the map and the game pleasing, and I'm glad that there's no fast travel system. You get to really enjoy the atmosphere and soak up all the ambience that the developers put into this game. You can tell they really put their heart and souls into this one. Conclusion. Overall, I thought the game was amazing and quite a steal for the price. If you don't mind the grind and like the minute details of city management, and also managing the relations between you and your villagers, I'd say you're going to love this. It's incredibly immersive, and you'll find the hours slip away as you watch your tiny hamlet develop into a thriving dynasty, with your wife and your children by your side to help you rule over your newfound kingdom. There are some issues, some technical issues. Tree stutters sometimes, and draw distance is an issue at times. Animals run way too fast sometimes and unrealistically move at times. They run way too fast after they've been hit by a spear. I threw a spear through a deer's head and it wasn't even slowed down. Didn't even act like it was injured. So it would be nice to see some kind of animal injury, you know? It would make the hunting a lot more realistic. It seems like the tavern issue has been solved. The tavern now just produces drinks and the kitchen just produces food, and it can have 2 workers. So the issue in the early access with a lot of people was that the tavern wasn't producing enough food. It was a bug. But the kitchen seems to have resolved that issue, so hopefully the people that were turned off by the game by that, because it is pretty game breaking, hopefully they'll come back to the game because they fixed that issue, it seems. This version of the game is so far superior. You can eat flowers for immediate effects and get buffed from flowers now. The forest noise seems way more rich and diverse. Quests are much more involved, they're way better done, they aren't simply fetch quests any longer, and there's actually character development. There's an herbalist job that makes potions, a well for water, bandits, voice actors for NPCs. You can sleep till the next season. You can change the duration of the season. Everything seems better. And that's why I highly recommend you play it. The gameplay I would give a 9, graphics a 9, the sound an 8, engagement and replayability, well, it never ends, so I gave that a 9. Level design, I would say it's a 9. Technical issues, I would give it a 7 because I had some bugs here and there with some villager animations, and sometimes they're kind of stuck in that Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal lean over the campfire, but other than that, there is occasional tree stuttering and leaf stutters from a distance, and draw distance issues as well. The skills and abilities, I would give a 9. It's intuitive, it's easy to follow, it makes sense. When you chop wood, it gives you points towards extraction, which is intuitive and smart. Overall, the game is fantastic, and I would score it an 8.5 out of 10. Well, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you in the next video. That should be coming up in the next few days or so. It's going to be an early access game. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.